Hello guys, and after enough caffeine to kill a horse, I am here to explain to you the best and worst damage dealing classes ranked from 1st all the way to 13th. So let's jump right into it. And to start off, I'm going to be testing these classes on one of the biggest, most violent, and hands down the most brutal boss in all of Adventure Quest. A giant chicken? No, that can't be right. Yes, that is correct. I will be fighting the mother hen. The reason I chose this monster is because it scales to my level as well as the damage, and with 21,000 health, it makes it an excellent target to test short-term and long-term damage effects on this creature. First, we will test the warrior. Next, we are going to test the mage. And next, we will check out the rogue. Next up is the healer. And next is the Guardian class. Now we test the Ranger. Now we test the Dragon Slayer. And here we have the Pirate. Now we're testing the Paladin. Now to try the Necromancer. Here comes the ninja. And now to test the Moglomancer. Last we have the Berserker. And now to get into the results. Alright, so absolutely dominating in first place is Dragon Slayer, defeating the Mother Hen in a massive 54 seconds, due to its versatility with its silence and bleed abilities, plus a very heavy ultimate that does 2,000 to 3,000 damage against dragons. This class is a very powerful damage dealer, especially lethal against dragons, but also due to zero self-support that relies mostly on potions alone to keep itself alive. Its Rend cross skill is very useful in almost every situation, as it increases the damage the enemy takes from all sources, and you guessed it, especially effective against dragons. Clocking in at a lethal time of 52 seconds is Rogue. Well, technically I would consider it a tie, but unfortunately it relies mainly on its ability to poison its foes. Therefore, if a single ability misses or you are fighting a lower health monster, you won't have as much opportunity to stack your poison, causing the eventual lack of overall damage. But since it has zero self-support, I would recommend potions for this class as well. The Rogue cross skill is not that great overall. It can buy you a little time if you are taking heavy damage, but there are far greater cross skills in the game. Capsizing the bird in 1 minute and 11 seconds is Pirate. It is heavily based around its randomized ability to reset cooldowns and activate Flak Shot to maximize its damage, so being purely based on luck, this class, while high in damage, is only going to get its best potential out of a lucky player. It has no self-support abilities, but since it is ranged, depending on the player will depend on how many potions you could end up needing. The Pirate's cross skill is an ability that always crits and does a very nice amount of damage as well. Its overall semi-short cooldown plus its high one-hit damage makes this a great skill for getting out of a pinch or finishing off the poor soul that got in your way. Rank 4 is Berserker, crashing through the charts at 1 minute and 13 seconds. It does excellent burst damage, making it a ruthless destroyer against lower health mobs, and due to its passive that increases attack speed below 25% and again below 15% health, combining its attack speed boosting ultimate, when cornered, this class truly shines. Using potions is good for this class if the fight is long, but since it has such a huge boost at low health, if the enemy is almost dead, it's best to just leave the health bar alone until the job is finished. The Berserker's cross skill is quite effective in groups, granting haste to all nearby allies, and while it isn't in itself a super powerful move, the added haste can drastically reduce the time it takes your team to take down a tough boss. Rank 5 is Ninja, with a destructive 1 minute and 11 seconds. While this class had a slightly faster time than Berserker, it is ranked lower due to its requirement of having a decent knowledge of the class and overall skill. It is a confusing class for beginners, and I would only recommend if you have the time to play around with it and truly figure out the class out. It has a pretty heavy ultimate and several self-buffs, so if used correctly, this class could outplay Berserker, or depending on skill, even some of the classes above. This class may require health potions in longer fights, but in a short fight this class is quite the opponent. The Ninja cross skill isn't overall a superb skill, but as it is a boost in move speed, it can be useful in an attempt to flee in PvP, or just overall for traveling faster on foot. Rank 6 is Mage with a time of 1 minute and 15 seconds. It does lower damage than the Ninja, but I would tie it with the Ninja in all honesty because of the fact that it is extremely easy to play and only a time difference of about 4 seconds. This class will definitely require health potions when going into battle, but due to its Ice Lance ability, it will never have to rely on using mana potions, so you can save that slot for a nice travel form or gadget of your choosing. The Mage's cross skill is quite effective with a powerful damage over time effect dealing close to if not more damage than the Pirate's cross skill. Rank 7 is Necromancer, summoning up a time of 1 minute and 18 seconds. This class does not need health potions as often as most other caster classes due to its minions taking all the damage most of the time. It is a pretty solid damage dealer, but if the opponent is fairly strong, they can take down the brittle minions in a few swings, leaving the caster mostly defenseless. You can use mana potions to replenish souls if you are in a tight spot, but overall a good class, with the exception of the minions needing more health. The cross skill of the Necromancer is called Bone Prison, which does exactly what it sounds like, inflict a small amount of damage while snaring your enemy. This effect seems to have had some issues with its reliability in PvP, either not lasting more than 1 second or not working at all. Rank 8 is Warrior, which actually surprised me how low this class ranked on the list, but its time was only 1 minute and 25 seconds, and due to it having no self-support, it is fairly good for burst damage and not a bad beginner class, but expect to be stocking up on health potions regularly. The Warrior cross skill is quite good for burst damage classes, as it deals fairly high damage to several enemies at a single time. Rank 9 is Guardian, which, while it is excellent for tanking and soloing most bosses in the game, such as the Ashfall parkour bosses, this class had a timing of 1 minute and 28 seconds. Overall nice damage reduction passive and decent healing damage, but against longer fights, expect to bring a pile of health and mana potions, especially versus serious opponents. The Guardian cross skill is a taunt, which is most useful for classes with good self-healing, or if your party does not actively have a tank at the ready. Rank 10 is the Paladin, with a not very impressive time of 1 minute and 57 seconds. Overall, its mana regeneration ability is so low that it has little to no benefit at all, especially when you have mana potions. They are good for taking damage and have the occasional stun ultimate, but overall lacking in just about every area except support. I have seen this class used to a fair degree in PvP, but even then I wouldn't personally recommend this class for anything, given the other classes available. The Paladin's cross skill, called Holy Bolt, damages your target and heals the nearest low health ally or sometimes friendly NPC with the lowest health for 15% of the caster's health. While this healing frequently gets out-damaged by other tougher bosses, against medium to lower class fights, as well as in PvP, this cross skill is quite useful. Rank 11 is Ranger with a time of 1 minute and 54 seconds. The reason this class is worse than Paladin is purely because of the lack of support. Longer fights will wear out a Ranger, and in shorter fights this class isn't that much better than a good caster. Poorly executed class and constant need for health potions against tougher monsters. The Ranger's cross skill is called Disengage. It is just about as useful as the Ninja's cross skill. It can increase the gap between opponents, or it can just be used to goof around. Rank 12 is Moglomancer, with an astonishingly low time of 2 minutes and 33 seconds. This class not only has poor long-term damage, but poor short-term damage as well. It has a skill to regenerate mana and a skill to regenerate health, but even those are not enough to bump this class up the list, as they are so low that a well-timed potion will do the same job just fine. The Moglomancer's cross skill is the best thing about this class, causing moderate damage and reliably freezing whoever sets foot in the path of the skill. Exceptionally useful in PvP. Rank 13, the final, most horrible damage-dealing class, should have been obvious from the start, the Healer. With an absolutely crawling time of 2 minutes and 42 seconds, it's not surprising that a class not meant for damage dealing isn't good at dealing damage. This class is a very good class for surviving, as timing its cooldown resetting ultimate with the healing ability can cause you to double up the heal spell, plus carrying potions all make this class an amazing class for surviving, both solo and with friends. But since this list is based purely on damage, that is why I had to put it so low. I personally highly recommend this class for fighting bosses with a group, especially since it is free, but I cannot list it as highly as I would like to, based on this list being damage-based. The Healer's cross skill is a very useful skill when in a party, and is most definitely a very useful skill to have among your teammates when fighting a tedious boss. That is all for today's video. I hope this helped you out, and if you have any questions, just leave a comment, or if you have anything you want me to cover, just let me know, and I will work on it if I can.